And welcome to the Business Spotlight. I'm Pat Dewar. I'm really excited about these series of videos I'm doing with folks of influence, business owners, and life changers all over the country. The folks that I'm bringing on are people that have a message for you at any area of your life, especially if you're a business owner, a coach, a speaker, an entrepreneur. I'd encourage you to really listen to these, take notes, because the people that I'm going to bring on, they'll give you some keys to change your world. I know my guest today, Kelley Moore, has been in my life for several years. I think I first met her in some networking or heard her speak in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and just went, oh my God, I love this lady. And the reason is because talk about someone who has real passion and authority in the realm of transformational speaking. You just don't get it any better than Kelley Moore. She's spoken in all 50 states. She has changed the lives of thousands of people around the country. I encourage you, take notes and listen to her story and listen to how she's creating the success she's having, because I mean, the lady is out there rocking it. And I'm so proud and so honored to have you on the show. Thanks so much, Kelley, for being here.
My gosh, thank you so much, Pat. Wow, what an amazing introduction and what a warm and fabulous welcome. It is a total honor and privilege for me to be here with you and with each and every one of the listeners and to truly open eyes and see possibilities. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, you're quite gifted at that. And I want to get into that, especially since I know a little bit of your story and I know the audience may not. So I'd like to start there and tell me your story. How'd you get to where you're at?
Oh gosh, so how far you want me to go back? You know, it all began back in 1970, right? So I'm born and raised in South Texas, right? You know, just normal, everyday little girl that decided one day to go for something that everyone in my life said there was no way I could do, and that all evidence pointed to that it was not for me. So at the ripe old age of 17, I found myself standing on a pair of yellow footprints. And those yellow footprints were the first step to Marine Corps boot camp. So I spent 8 years as a United States Marine. Yes. When my daddy heard what I was doing, Pat, he used my full name. Right? I mean, that's when you know
you're in trouble when they use all three of those suckers, right?
He said, Kelley Jean, you know they are going to tell you what to do and you have to do it. And me, I looked at him with all of my 17-year-old wisdom and I said, Daddy, don't you know if I have a better way, they're going to want to hear it? Yeah. So I was that rebellious kid. Look, I barely graduated high school. I skipped so much school my senior year that they said, I don't think so. You know, and I had to take a little correspondence course, the whole deal. And so, you know, here I find myself on these yellow footprints. And my first job in the Marine Corps, I was blessed to work on the infamous black box of F-18. So it's like the brain of the aircraft, if you will. So it was really the command center that recorded all the flight data and all the electronics and all the good juicy stuff about how this aircraft worked and the pilots that piloted and commanded the aircraft and what was running through their bodies and their minds and their words and all of that. And then about halfway through my enlistment, I met a boy. And he actually worked on
trouble every time.
I know, every time, right? He worked on helicopters. I worked on jets. We were both highly deployable, and he was just about done with his enlistment. So I went to the Marine Corps and I said, I am fascinated by brains. I am fascinated by how this electronic brain works. I'm fascinated by our human brains. Is there any way that I could transition to where I can stay in the States just for a little bit? So I found myself at Quantico, where I did some training at the FBI Academy and the State Department in human behavior and profiling. So now I went from electronic brains to digging into human brains and behaviors and all of that good stuff, and really getting a deep grasp and understanding of how the body itself cannot lie, and what fear does for us. And fear is my very best friend, and so I've taken all of that, and I found myself, when I got out, when we decided to have kids and do that kind of thing, studied neuroscience for a little bit, and kind of one of those fancy letters after my name. But life happens to all of us. They're the dreams that we have and the dreams life has for us, right? So the only fancy letters I have after my name are MOM, and I'm completely cool with that. Proud parent of 2 beautiful daughters, even though I'd have been a much better boy mama. That's not how the universe works. So I've taken all of that and found myself working at the Greater Chicago Food Depository, largest food bank in the country. And from there, we went out, and I was raising food and raising funds to feed folks. And in doing so, found myself in front of corporate CEOs and folks that were running the lines and getting them engaged and motivated to making a difference. And one of the CEOs one day said, "Man, after you came and talked to our team about food, which is what we do here, they have been so engaged and so inspired. Do you speak on anything else?" Pat, I'm in my 20s. Here's this guy, this God in my mind, right? Running a big, major, multinational corporation. And I looked at him and I said, "Is that something you pay people for?" And he said, "I do." I said, I can speak on anything you'd like. What do you want to talk about?"
Oh, that's hilarious. It's one of those things where you go, "You do? Really? Well, how much do you have?"
Yeah.
Not how much do I charge, it's how much do you have?
Oh, no, I do that. And called my daddy and said, "Guess what? Somebody's going to pay me to talk."
I bet that one was one of those, no way. I mean,
Right.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
It's always funny to me when I hear you talk, though. One of my favorite stories that you tell and is pretty much first day of boot camp, and how they basically scared the snot out of you. And, life shifted in a big way. It was like, oh, they may not want to hear what I have to say. So I'll let you give that one. When somebody hires you to speak, I know when you talk about your heart race, and I go, I was with you. I never went through the basic training, but I feel you. So you're speaking now all over the country. You coach people in so many different areas in success, a lot of CEOs and business owners, helping them become more profitable, better leaders. What are what are some of the things that you're doing to create that success? How are you connecting to a lot of these folks and really growing their leadership model?
Oh, I love that question. And there's the big part of me, Pat wants to say, I am the very epitome of what not to do. I don't do a lot of concentrated marketing. I don't, and it really is just word of mouth and impact. It really is. I believe the greatest gift that we have is the gift of our presence. And that's the true present. And so it's really just meeting folks where they are and telling them it's okay. Look, it is okay to not be okay. It is okay. In fact, let's do this. Just pretend for a moment that I don't have the words to describe to you what's happening in my body when I am freaked out, when I am afraid, when I am, when you're scared, when you're in doubt. What are the physical symptoms you feel, Pat?
Oh, usually it's things like shortness of breath, heart racing, face flush, and brain burp.
Yeah, so your palms get sweaty and your pulse starts to race and your heart starts to pound and your brain, I love that term, brain burp. Everything just blood, it's running, 90 to nothing, if you will. So is it fair to say when you're freaked out and fired up and scared, is it fair to say that the systems in your body are freaked out and fired up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hold on to that for a minute. Now, when you are over the moon, this is the best day of your life. You're exhilarated. You won the deal. They said yes, whoever they is, right? This is the best day of your life. Describe what goes on in your body.
Well, it's like
your heart rate.
Your heart rate's going up, but there's the difference in when I think about that. I
connect the dots.
I think about, well, I have an image in my mind of me seeing my wife in a certain event, and it was a bit of a celebration. It wasn't like our wedding. It was actually an event I was leading and she was in. And she was having a real breakthrough in her life. And I remember how charged I was in the moment. Obviously it still brings up so much emotion of excitement.
Yes.
That you're sitting there thinking, you're just so excited that in my life it was, they're getting it. They're getting it. And it's like there's electricity going through you, and you're moving into this realm of elation. But there's power in the moment, and unlike when you're freaked out and afraid, where there's your breath is going so shallow and the brain is being drained of the blood, shot out to the arms and legs, and the conscious mind shut down. The unconscious is flaring up, and the sad part is that unconscious only has 7th and 8th grade programs, and someday I'll explain that one. But the point is that the difference is, one is is weakness, withdrawal, and the other is and moving in. Yeah, thanks. That was a fun ride. What was the point of that?
The body cannot lie, my friend. The body itself cannot lie. Lies only happen in the brain, and your body is telling you. If we break it down to just those physical symptoms, you described it so beautifully. That your shortness of breath, when we're labeling it in our mind as fear and weakness, we experience as this. When we label it in our mind as, I'm getting it, this is the moment, it's that the body itself is utilized. The body itself cannot lie. Lies only happen in the brain. And that's what the beauty of fear is for us. Courage would not even exist without fear. And courage, C-O-U-R, the root of the word literally means heart. So when we can get out of our head where all that 7th and 8th grade programming is, and down into our hearts where true courage reigns, we can embrace fear. We can act with its wisdom because it has a role. The role of fear is to keep you physically and emotionally safe and alive, right? So how beautiful is that? And we just got to train it up. Uncomfortableness is not death. Let's embrace it. And that's where we grow. So, that's really been, I think, in my entire lifetime has been a training ground for embracing fear and acting with its wisdom,
Mm.
not becoming fearless, not taking fear out. In fact, that very first day I stood on those yellow footprints, that the loudest voice in my brain, that unconscious programming that you have, right, is the infamous they, right? They said you can never do this. They said. And when we find ourselves as humans in that moment, the loudest voice we tend to hear is that voice of surrender. We got to give it up. I gotta stop. I gotta quit this. I gotta become something that I'm not in order to be what they say successful is, what they say. Right? You even heard it in me. Oh, don't look at my marketing. They say I do it wrong, right? So when we come to that moment and we can remember in that moment that William Booth said it best, he said, the greatness of a man's power is the measure of his surrender. And when
Mm.
we can surrender what we believe about ourselves, what we believe about the other person, what we believe about real marketing, what we believe about those things and how they might be holding us back. So I often say that beliefs are never bystanders, right? They're never neutral. They're either beating us up or they're our best friend building us up. So how can we really just take a moment and take a look at what it is in the moment we're trying to be right about, and if that is serving us,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
That,
I love
that's
that, Kelley. One of the things that I know, well, I teach every day. I know you believe because of what you just said, but every day I teach people, look, what you believe about you is completely made up, and you're the author. And I even say that in an affirmation. What I believe about me is completely made up, and I'm the author. The challenge is, are you holding the pen? Are you holding it? Because when you're holding it, you decide what goes in here, what goes in here. You choose to shift gears and write the truth that you want. So I love what you're saying. And I think about that. I go, who in the universe, so to speak, who do you want? And already, I know you serve a lot of these people. Who gets the most benefit from your presence at their, I want to say party, but in their company, in their organization? Who really says, Kelley, we need you?
Yeah, so great question, Pat. It's those folks who are ready to turn problems into possibilities. In fact, the tagline of our company is perspective is power. So let's just take another look. We are very tactical and practical at See Your Possibilities. So we literally go right to the source. We do, in fact, this is a really fun activity. Take a look at what you're saying when you're saying it, because the body itself, again, cannot lie. Like, for example, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to work with these people. You say the word have, you literally end up in a frown. Have. You literally end up. So we wonder, our body has a level of intel that the rest of us doesn't, that our mind is sometimes, blinded to. So we have to get this done. We have to work with these people. I have to go to this thing. I have to do this. Those folks that are stuck in the haves, where life is really heavy, where everything is a duty, it's an obligation, it's a burden, it's all right. And it's not those folks that just do the simple tweak to get, right? We get to. I get to do this. I get to do that. That motivational speaker thing. That's a great sucker punch. It really is. It's a great head game. Welcome to the head games of life. We play them. My ideal person, and the person that's really ready, is the person that choose. Every time you say it, it's literally that pucker up of power. What are you choosing? You choose to take a look at Are You Holding the Pen? You choose to write a new story. You choose to be in the organization you're in with the person you're with, and you recognize that you're not a victim of your own choices. That is really the quality of who I am and what we do here at See Your Possibilities. That's just taking a new look, taking a softer look. We go to words, like the word respect. Re means again, and spect literally means to see. So it's to see again. So those that are ready to respect themselves, respect the team they're with, and take another look at how they're showing up and how we can really impact and influence. That's my ideal.
It's awesome. One of the things I hear in there, and I wonder if this is some of the things that you begin to teach people, and that is there's a technique called the observer technique.
Yeah.
When somebody is saying something, and I call it they're throwing the emotional brick at your head, and rather than letting that sucker hit you, in the observer technique, it's as if you you step in your mind to the side, and just notice what is happening. I like to tell people, somebody's throwing the emotional brick at you, and because, in my opinion, adults under pressure, kids in big clothing, in your mind you go, oh, so that's what you were like in the 7th grade. Now, you don't say that. I mean, filters, right? Okay, so it's not coming out of your mouth, it's in the but it's interesting. Is that process part of what, I mean, I hear it, but I don't know if that's what you're saying, when you help people to begin to choose to observe, and in the observing, the emotional charge begins to be pulled back off of that moment. Tell me, are we on the same page?
Definitely. We talk about, what does emotion even mean? And how does it work? And we get down to the most basic of labels so that we're all on a level playing field, right? Humans, males, females, youngs, old, cultures, background. The thing that brings us all together is we each have this thing up here, this 3-pound glob of chemicals and electrical impulses. And how does it work? And part of our head trash, if you will, is, well, I get triggered by this, or I get upset at that, or this offends me. Guess what? Male, female, young, old, culture, background, if you're human, information comes in through one of your 5 senses. You see it, you hear it. First place it goes is through all that beliefs. All those beliefs, all those pages and pages that we have written out about ourselves, about what words mean, about what the other person, about all this stuff. And it gets filtered and sorted through there. And beliefs, words, our most powerful weapon we have, literally have emotion embedded within them. And so emotion is simply energy and movement. And when we can get off the ride for just a minute and observe, that's actually the technique. Hey, all right, let's hang on. Observe what's happening in your body right now. What responses are you getting? What chemicals are floating in? How are we going to harness those so that we can utilize the momentum, right? Stress is really a root word. And as humans and in our society, we've been conditioned to drop off the prefix and instead put a word at the end, right? We typically say we are stressed out or stressful. The deal is, that's distress. There's actually a whole nother aspect to stress, which is called eustress, has EU in front of it. And if you look at the stress curve, I wish I had a visual here. If you look at the stress curve, if you just had nothing, if you had none of those chemicals, none of that dopamine, none of that epinephrine, none of that, serotonin, none of that adrenaline, none of that coming in, you're just,
You're Vulcan.
You're bored. You're bored.
Vulcan. No.
Emotion.
Yeah, Vulcans. Sorry, I'm a nerd. Go ahead.
You're meh. You're just like, life, meh. I'm not excited about anything. I'm not living. You're not living. And then you start to sabotage yourself a little bit, right? We start to, oh, I'm gonna try this, or I'm gonna go do this. And so you start to come, I'm kind of digging this. And then there's that curve. Look, too much of anything is too much. Jack Daniels is fabulous, my friend, till you have one too many shots and it takes you over the edge, right? So same thing with stress. Same thing with stress. And so it's really just all about observing and witnessing what's happening in you, understanding that, hey, welcome to humanity. I made it. I am human. So it's okay. And now what do we do with it? Right? So I actually call it RAD. Recognize, accept it, do the work. If this is a strategy that's serving you, then by all means, let's enhance it and keep doing it. If this is a strategy, a reaction, that is no longer serving you, let's surrender it. Let's give it back. Let's bless it for where it has gotten us. And now let's just create a new strategy, a new technique, a new tactic that will have us respond the way we choose.
That's awesome. So how would someone get a hold of you to either bring you in as a speaker or hire you as a coach?
Oh, fantastic. So my website is seeyourpossibilities.com. That's all three words are spelled out. seeyourpossibilities.com, right? It's like Mississippi. P-O, crooked letter I, double humpback I, right? Possibilities. I hang out on Facebook quite a bit. My email address is my first initial, K, last name Moore, Moore, at See Your Possibilities. And, hey, call me. 817-403-8402. Looky there. I gave you out my personal cell phone number. That's how committed I am to your success. So reach out anytime if I can be of service.
No kidding. I think that's really amazing. I look at the ways you're touching people. I know when you show up in a room, I like to describe you as a spiritual chain breaker, bolt cutter. Because when you speak, there's so much power in the words that come out of your mouth that chains start to snap in people's lives, and they begin to have paradigm shifts all the time. And I love that. I mean, one of the things that I love about being a speaker and a coach and myself is that you meet people that have amazing gifts and talents that really take their message, that what I call that 9-pound pearl. It's that message in them that was carved into their heart by the creator of the universe. And when they share that truth, lives are changed every time. And I love that. I so appreciate what you're doing. I love to see your work, and I love to see your success. And I know I'll see a lot more of that. I just want to say, if there's one thing you'd want to tell your audience, the audience right now, to help them really take action, because I believe, Kelley, there are three types of people out there. There are people that are comfortable, and they'll probably stay that way, which means they'll probably do a lot of nothing. And then there's chained, and those people are bound to expectations of people, bosses, family, spouses, others, and they allow those chains to keep them from living. And then there's activated. These folks are living their truth. They're moving into what they can be. They're creating their destiny. What would you say to help people snap the chains and move into activation?
Oh, I love that. What a great question. That your time is now. The time is now. So you often hear this saying, YOLO, you only live once. It's a lie. It's a lie. Life is now. Put your hand right here and feel that. Feel that heartbeat, right? Take that air in. feel that oxygen. Life is now. This is life. You are not your circumstances. And expectations are full of all kinds of emotional head trash, right? So the time is now. And here's my challenge to you. Here's my invitation, right? So notice changing one word is reaching each of those folks in each of their place, right? The challenge for those of you that rise to the challenge and rise to the occasion, and the invitation for those of you that are like, I don't want to be challenged. Life is enough right now. Then it's an invitation. Simply shift your languaging. For the next 30 days, try this. Every time you find yourself saying the word have, replace it with the word choose. And just see how your life changes, how you actually have that influx of power, which power is one of those words that some folks are like, I don't want any power. Hey, guess what power means? It simply means the ability to act. And action changes things. And now is your time. The real truth of the matter is, YODO, you only die once, and you're living right now. Let's live full out. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah, go all in. That's awesome. Hey, thank you
in.
so much, Kelley. It's such an honor to have you on the show today, to reconnect and really, I just wish you the greatest success. I know you're going to do well, and I believe in you. So thank you again, and folks, if you're listening, I encourage you to connect to Kelley and really reach out to her if you're looking for a great speaker or a great coach. I know she'll do a good job. I've seen her in action, and she will rock your world. And to connect to me, I've got like her Facebook. You can always email me if you have questions or suggestions for topics or guests. Patrick at DOER. It's the way you pronounce my last name. DOER success, SUCCESS.com. Check, connect to us, like us on Facebook, share the message if it resonates with you. I know Kelley laid out a ton of stuff today. I mean, really, like, great stuff. And it can help those around you that need a little encouragement, a little invitation to live now. Thank you so much, Kelley. We'll talk to you next time.
My pleasure, Pat. Thank you. Bye, everyone.